Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. And today we are here with another presentation related to augmented reality. And today in the presentation, we'll be discussing about the augmented reality tools. And in this, we'll discuss about how actually the augmented reality is made and what are the key uses of augmented realities in the recent times. So let's begin it. So welcome. So in this today's session, we'll learn about the tools used for creating augmented reality. We'll learn the key features which the tools will be using and the need of creation of augmented reality and the tools why they are used to create that. So let's begin that. So here is that let's need the tools needed for the augmented reality. This is the first thing that we'll be studying. That is creating augmented realities involves many things. That is the tools which are required for augmented reality portion is that there are two types of tools required. That is hardware and the software tools. But in augmented realities, both hardware and software tools play a very important role. And especially the hardware tools are one of the important key features which augmented reality uses. So let's dive into that. So the first portion is the hardware tools. So in the hardware tools, smartphones and tablets, these are the tools that are used in the hardware part of the augmented reality. That is, the modern smartphones, tablets are equipped with powerful processor, high resolution cameras, and various sensors, which are essential for augmented application. So, as we all are aware that smartphones that are recently available, and everyone has a smartphone, and each and every smartphone has certain sort of features which make them quite different from the ones that were used in the earlier times, because now the smartphones which are being used, they have high resolution cameras, and even there are certain types of sensors, face locking, security features there, fingerprint sensors are there, etc, etc. Different type of features are there which enables the smartphones and tablets to be used in the augmented reality portion. Then comes the augmented glasses and headsets. So well, when we hear the term related to augmented reality, the first device that always comes in our mind is the AR glasses and the headset. So, like devices like Microsoft HoloLens, Magic Leap, and Google Glass provide immersive AR augmented reality experience by overlaying digital information onto the real world. So, these uh, hardware portions, that tools that is required in the hardware part of the augmented realities are even costlier because we know that the technology which is being used to create these sort of hardware components is quite unique, and that's why they are one of the most expensive tools that are being used in the augmented reality. Now let's move on to the software tools. Now in the software tools, we'll first discuss about AI development platforms, that which platforms are being actually used for developing augmented reality. So the first one is ARKit iOS. It is a framework by Apple for creating augmented experience on iOS devices. It provides features like motion tracking, environmental understanding, and light estimation. So actually, ARKit iOS was introduced by Apple only because the main reason of introducing this particular platform, development platform, was that Apple created a Apple headset, and on that particular headset, they actually created an augmented reality platform, and on the creation of that, this particular technology of ARKit used in iOS was used because Apple wants something different, which other augmented reality creating teams were not using, and that was why augmented kit for iOS was introduced. Then comes the AR core for Android. like Google platform for building augmented reality application on Android devices. It includes feature like motion tracking, environmental understanding, and light emissions. Well, the features which AR Core and AR Kit for iOS was providing, the features are same, but the company that are using this particular platform is different, because AR Kit was being used by Apple, whereas AR Core Android was is used by Google. And
So yes,
Wolfria is
can you
widely used.
elaborate the light estimation term? What is that?
Okay, light estimation terms. Okay, Rudransh, light estimation terms is being like you might have seen many sort of videos where dim and bright lights are being used. So suppose you are using an augmented reality headset, and during that augmented reality headset, suppose there is a dim light, then if a particular device is not having that feature to adjust the light of that particular device, because automatically when we are using a headset, there will be a certain features like we'll be using a mobile phone which will be introduced, and which will be actually used in that headset portion. So well, if the light around the surrounding is different, the headset portion which is being developed by the companies, in that device also the reflection of the same should be experienced. So light estimation is like, suppose it is a sunny weather, then obviously the light would be quite brighter. But if suddenly there is a cloudy weather, then obviously the amount of light which will be there in the sunny weather, and the amount of the light which will be there in the cloudy weather, it will be different. So in order to adjust both of them, light estimation is being used, because this particular features uses a technology that balances the light emission from an object, and that's why light estimation is being used over here. Is your doubt
It
clear?
it turns automatically with respect to weather, or we have to done manually, like dark theme.
No, no, it will be done by the device automatically. That's why this particular feature is being introduced in the headset portions.
I think it consists some sort of sensors to
Yeah,
to get the data. What's the weather that time?
yeah. Obviously, you are correct. Nowadays, even in mobile phones, that automatically that automatic brightness controller is being also introduced. That obviously, when the light is quite brighter, so obviously a person can't see in the phone's touch screen. So it automatically brightens up that particular screen of that particular device, and when the light is dim, it automatically goes to that protection mode. So this particular light emission tools is being used nowadays in smartphones as well.
Okay, now clear.
Okay. So now let's move on to the game engines. So Unity is now
I think you
obviously
missed the last one.
augmented reality. Okay, sorry. So Wolfia is a widely used augmented platform that was supported by iOS and Android. So like ARKit and Augmented Core, Wolfia was is a type of augmented platform that was is used by both iOS and Android, because earlier this particular platform was the only one that was used by both the companies, that was Apple and Google as well. But since there were certain sort of features which were not available in this particular development platform, so both the companies decided to go for a private sort of development platform, and that was why ARKit for iOS and AR Core for Android was introduced. So now moving on to the game engines. So there are two types of actually game engines which are being used in the software tools. The first one is Unity and the second one is Unreal Engine. But the most common game engine that is being used in augmented realities is Unity, because Unity is quite easy to understand, and even it is not easy to understand. It is easy to obviously it is easy to understand, but there are certain features which Unity is providing that reduces the work effort of an individual. So that it is a very common tool that is being used over here. So what is the key features which Unity is providing? Let's read about it. That is, it is a versatile gaming engine that supports AR development through plugins like AR Foundation, which bridges AR Kits and AR Core. So obviously, in the previous part, we discussed about the development kits, that the development platform that were being used for augmented realities. So in Unity part, it is like a plugin feature. It provides a plugin features which bridges both augmented reality kit part and the core part together. Suppose why Unity is acting as a bridge between AR kit and AR core. The reason behind this is that suppose there is a user who has an Apple headset, but he wants to run a augmented reality app which is developed by an Android user, which is actually developed for an Android user. But the thing will be that many of us might be thinking that the person is using a headset of that app, the company Apple, but he is running the augmented reality app of who is developed by an Android developer. Then obviously there will be certain sort of mishappenings that will happen. So Unity is providing is linking and connecting both the companies together by developing a augmented reality app by using that. Obviously, when we'll go towards the Android development part, Unity is one of the important portion which will be introduced in that particular part. Obviously, Java and Kotlins are even used for the development, and in the upcoming slides also we'll discuss about the when we'll discuss about the programming languages, Java and Kotlin will be that key point will be there as well. So Unity is basically being used for that gaming engine, whereas Unreal Engine is also like a framework that offers robust supports to the AR development tools. So these are the two gaming engines that are being used over here. Now the third one is the 3D modeling and designing tool. Well, now these the all the things which we have discussed in the beginning related to the development platform and the gaming engines, these will be useless if our 3D model and designing tools won't be available there. Because obviously when we think about augmented reality, the first thing that comes in our mind is something which is artificial as well as real. And for that artificial platform, we need to create a 3D model. So for creating the 3D model and designing tools, we use feature of certain sort of apps and applications like Blender, Maya, AR as development kits and APIs, Easy AR and Wikitude. But the most commonly used 3D modeling thing that we'll be using is Blender and Maya, because these are one of the most common 3D modeling platforms that are being used nowadays. So our Blender is an open source tool for creating 3D models, animated and visual effects. So in the Blender parts, there will be certain sort of options, like there will be certain sort of shapes that are being available, and using those shapes a person can create his or her 3D design, using whether he wants to design a robot, a car, or some of the other sort of things. Even if you want to see how exactly a Blender works, in the description portion of this particular video I'll give a link of a video in which I'll be there. You can see that particular video and you can understand how exactly a person with the help of a simple shape can make 3D models that look real can be used. Similarly, Maya is another 3D modeling animated software which is used for creating 3D assets. Both these applications are one of the most important parts of augmented reality. Now, as in the previous slides also, I mentioned about the point that we'll be discussing about the programming languages that are being used in augmented reality. Now, obviously, why there's a need of a programming language? Because obviously we can create a 3D model, but in order to provide a motion features to that model, we need certain sort of languages. And the one of the most common languages that is being used in augmented reality is C sharp, because it is a language that is being used by Unity as well. as well as Java and Kotlin are the other tools that are being recently in the market. It is being used for creating augmented realities, because these two languages are easy to understand, and moreover the implementation part of Unity in C Sharp and Java and Kotlin is much easier as compared to CPP, Swift, Objective-C, and other sort of languages. So these are the programming languages that are used in augmented reality. Now steps
Yes.
for creating
In previous presentation, I think you mentioned the like previous one again.
yeah, the languages, but
No, in previous
uh,
one step.
which
Yes, AR, AR APIs, AR
yeah,
SDKs and APIs. Can you
yeah,
explain
yeah.
this?
Okay. So see, AR SDKs and API. So like everybody knows about that API can be used for fetching data from a server side or certain sort of servers which are being not created by the original user. So similarly, certain sort of data like obviously the 3D modeling related to the designing part can't be done by a person who is actually working on this, because every person is not able to create a 3D model, because creation of a 3D model is one of the typical tasks, and that's why augmented reality is one of the toughest portion to be created in nowadays. So using APIs also, we can fetch 3D models by using APIs. Thus some other person will be creating the models for us, and the person who wants to create an augmented reality platform, by the help of APIs, the entire motion graphics related to that particular model, the licensing part, etc., will be provided to the person who is using that augmented reality and trying to make that, and the modeling part will not be done by that person. So that's why APIs and SDKs are being used over there. I think now your doubt will be clear.
Any specific API which you want to mention it here for the
See,
fetching?
in Google, there are many platforms which are being available, and obviously API. Whenever we want to fetch a particular model from that, separate APIs will be created. Freewik is one of the site which provides animated augmented reality models, as well as that AI images over there. So obviously you can refer to that Freebic, because there you can obviously download the AI images. But for the 3D model creation part, every 3D model will be having an API. So specific, if I want to mention a specific API, I think that won't be possible. But obviously, I a particular site that is Freebic can be used over there.
Okay, continue.
Okay. So now we'll be moving on to the steps to create an augmented reality application. So first of all, we'll be defining the concept, why actually we are making that API. So determining the purpose and the scope of the augmented reality application. So the reason behind defining the concept is that why a person will be making an augmented reality app, because augmented reality creation is a difficult portion, and and if a person is creating and he or she is not getting that much hype of the model which he or she has created, then the investment which that particular person is doing on this particular project will be just like a waste. So then defining the concept, by defining the concept, the person will analyze the target audience, the environment, the quality, and the needs, and the type of the augmented reality that is being required in the market. The person analyzes it, and on the basis of that, he decides whether he should create a marker based augmented reality, markless location based, or some sort of other augmented realities that is trending in the market. So defining the concept and the purpose for augmented reality creation must be clearly defined in the mind of that creator who is creating that. And then the platforms which the person has to select, whether he is using ARKit, ARCall, or Wolfia, or Unity, or Unreal Gaming Engines, and the type of the languages will he will be using, targeted devices which that particular person will be making, and the complexity of the application. That is, whether the application which he or she has made should be simple, or it should be complex, so that certain features could be logged in that. This all things will be decided by the person who is creating that. Now,
I have
when
a
now
small
that
doubt.
comes, yeah,
Like Unreal, you tell that Unity uh, plays a role like a bridge. Okay.
yeah.
So Unreal Engine is also work as a same or a different one?
No, both of them are providing the same features, but just like I in the portion related to the development portion, I mentioned that AR kits and AR core are recently trending, because the third development platform which was used by both, because in that Wolforia, the name that was being mentioned was that it was first used by both Android and for Android and iOS AR development creation, but there were certain features which that particular platform was not providing, and that was actually enforcing that company to restrict his or her movement related to creating that augmented reality. Similarly, Unity is a platform that is recently trending in the market, whereas Unreal Engine is also the one that is being used. But there are certain features which Unity is providing, like because Unity is easy to understand, and moreover the games which are being created nowadays, they are using Unity as a key module for gaming engine, because it is easy, and moreover it is not quite complex for the creator as well as the user to use, because even a person who is a young and who is a young developer and wants to learn development, the first thing and the for the teacher who will be teaching is that he'll be saying that you need to use Unity for that, because it is very simple, and moreover the complexity part of that particular platform is not there. So you can go and use that, and because it is easy. So that's why Unreal Engine is also providing the same features, that is it is acting as a bridge between AR kit and AR core. But due to certain features which extra features which Unity is providing, that's why people restrict themselves to use Unreal Engine in augmented reality.
Okay, clear.
Okay. So now for the 3D models, now obviously these particular things related to the tools which we I have discussed in the previous as well, that for 3D modeling, blenders and Maya will be used for creating digital assets, and AR SDKs will be used like development. The SDKs is basically the development kits which will be which a person will be using to use the and implement the 3D model in augmented reality, and it includes that ARKit, ARCon, and Wolforia into the development environment. And the third one is implementing interactive and logic. So obviously in implementing an interaction part, the programming languages that are being used is used. And in that C Sharp and Java are being involved, are the recently emerging languages which are being used in AR development. You can even say that Kotlin is also used, Swift is even used, but C Sharp and Java are easy to use, because the models, the animation portion related to the 3D modeling is quite easy, because there are certain sort of inbuilt functionality which C Sharp, because there is a inbuilt library in both C Sharp and Java, which provides the animation portion, and even it is easy to implement the 3D model using them. So that's why these two languages are trending in the augmented reality world. Now then comes the testing and the debugging portion. Well, before launching the entire augmented reality platform into the market, the first test which a person will be doing who has created the augmented reality will be testing and debugging. Because obviously, if a person has created a platform and he is directly launching it in the market, then there will be certain sort of bugs which will be uh, coming in that particular app, because even after testing and debugging, when certain mobile applications are being introduced in the markets, there are certain sort of bugs that appears. So testing and debugging part is related to seeing what the bugs could occur, and debugging will be used to debug and remove those bugs which will be occurring in that particular augmented reality application.
I listen about
Then the
Swift. I think Swift is used to develop the Apple applications. Like then why is Swift? I think Swift is used to develop a AR for Mac devices.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, okay,
See,
continue.
that C sharp and Java. See, I mentioned about that C sharp and Java because nowadays the amount of Android users are more as compared to the iOS users.
Okay,
And even because the application and the model and the hardware parts related to the headset, whether it is a Mac or a mobile, the price money of that particular device is also quite high as compared to the Android one. And even obviously the entire UI feature of Apple products will be quite different from the Android, but the pocket friendliness which Android applications are providing, that's why Java and C Sharp are the languages that are being recently trending, because the most of the augmented reality platforms that are created, first they are created for Android users, then the similar sort of models are created for the iOS users, because in the market Android users are more, and if the particular model gets a huge hype in the Android portion and in the Android market, then obviously the similar would happen in the iOS market as well. So then Swift, if this is the third most important languages that is being used for creation
I
part
think
by
Swift is
Apple.
not used for Android development. Well, for
No,
Android AR.
no, for Android development, C Sharp, Java, and Kotlin are used.
Okay,
And
okay,
Swift, as you mentioned in the beginning, that it is being used by Apple. This definitely it is being used by Apple only. But since C Sharp and Java are used for the 3D modeling, we can't say that Swift can't be used in Apple also. But certain features and inbuilt libraries can be used in Apple's also, but the entire coding portion related to the augmented reality will be done by in Swift only.
okay, okay.
So we were in the optimization part. So in the optimization part, the application of performance by refining 3D model, minimizing process overhead, and ensuring effective use of the device resources. So in optimization part, the person will be analyzing the key features and the effectiveness of the augmented reality model, and the platform will be done by the user, because if the optimization part is clear, then the entire application will run effectively. So optimization is the another key step for creating an application, and then comes the deployment. Deployment is being like publishing the augmented reality application into the open market for everyone to use, and by using it the person will come to know about the flourishing of that particular application in the market, because if it is a very good application which is being developed by that person, then it will obviously flourish in the market in months or days, sorry, not in years. And it will be a great money earning platform for that person. Now, maintenance and updates are the another key features, because obviously maintenance and updates in augmented reality is being required. That is updating the tools and the application according to the user's involvement and the needs is comes
So
under
yes, you have 10
maintenance and
minutes.
update. Okay, okay. I'll be finishing that thing. So maintenance portion is related to that, where updates will be um, given to the Android and iOS users regularly for better features. Now, for the users part of augmented reality, obviously augmented reality is used in educational features, because By the help of augmented reality, virtual classrooms can be created. Complex subjects like biology, chemistry, and physics, which where a lot of 3D stuffs is being required for students to understand. Obviously, the study portion and the education part will become quite easy if augmented reality is used in education part over there. Then comes the healthcare medical training. Now, MRI, CT scans, and a certain sort of body checkup features where certain machines are being required. Trainer like in colleges where medical students study, by the help of augmented reality, the student who is actually studying that particular MRI and CT scan feature can even perform and see how exactly the machine will work like, and how exactly the person has to do the CT scan of the patient which is coming for diagnosis and treatment planning. Then comes the gaming and entertainment platform. Since the beginning of the augmented reality, I'm mentioning this thing that augmented reality is used in gaming, where games like Pokemon Go, in the last presentation which I gave last week, there I mentioned about a game also, Jurassic World Alive. Augmented reality portions are being used over there. Tourism and navigation, historical reconstructions are being used, like 3D models and will be used, like a 3D guide will be created by the help of augmented reality headset. The person can sit at home and can experience the real-time experience of visiting a historical monument by the help of a 3D guide that is being provided in the AR headset features by different companies. So well, that was all for from my side related to augmented reality tools, and hope so you enjoyed it. Thank you.
I think most of the space apps are made with the AR and VR.
Yes, space apps are being used. See, augmented reality tools are being used in space, but in the earlier times, this particular technology was not used. Earlier times, I think the information which I'm having is that only the animation portion was being used,
Okay.
and so far which the information which I have is that in nowadays the 3D portion which that space apps are providing, in that we are not using augmented reality, we are using virtual reality, because in in the space applications, what so far whatever videos I have seen is that only the 3D model related to the future missions is being done. But augmented reality so far, I think I haven't seen in space. But obviously, virtual reality is the thing that is being used over there.
Okay. Tell me one thing again, like if we make a 3D model with the simulation, okay, and if
Yeah.
I store it on my laptop, then it will
Yep.
take more MBs to store than like the text file, or the how the amount of storage they want to store.
See, if you have created a model,
Simple
then
model.
obviously simple model.
Yes, yes, simple
Uh,
model.
yeah. So in any sort of simple models, actually, for creating a model, there will be certain sort of frame sets that are being introduced, like the video which I will be providing in the description related to Blender. When you will see that when a model is rendered, there are certain sort of frame sets that are being created. Like I have created a model of a car. So the interior portion, the steering frame set will be different. The seat frame set of the interior of the car will be different. The dashboard portion of the car will be different, and AC features, light features, that all will be different. And the frame set and these features and the models are being divided into frame sets. And when the rendering part will be done, it will require a larger space as compared to a simple model that is being downloaded from a particular site or a web application, because there the person who is providing that 3D model will not provide you the access with the access of the real code that is being used to create that 3D model. It will be only providing you with the 3D model that he or she has created, It is just like you when you click a photo by your own phone's camera. When you look at the storage portion of the detailed portion of that photo shows that you have certain sort of memories being used by that photo in your phone device and in the memory device of your phone. And similarly, if you'll transfer that a same image uh, through WhatsApp to some other person's device, then obviously the size related to that particular image will be reduced because the pixels will also be disturbed. So if a person is trying to fetch a 3D model from some other website or using API, then the size will be quite smaller. But if you are creating the similar 3D model by the help of Blender or Maya, then obviously the size of that 3D model will be quite larger as compared to the one which we have downloaded using APIs.
Okay,
I think now your doubt will be clear.
clear. I start a new meeting, then join everyone.
Okay.
Keshav, I start a new meeting. You can join it because a 2 minute is left. Okay. So, hello everyone. Today I start the next part of Docker. Actually, today we cover a small portion of Docker because I'm my health is not as good to cover a lengthy portion. So we cover 2 or 3 topics and then we end our presentation. Okay. So firstly, we start with what is port mapping. So if you are with me from previous presentation, you get to know about images. So what is images? Images has the FS layers, multiple FS layers present in the images. Okay. So, and one thing is when you create a container based on a particular image, then the container is make a thin writable layer on your image and the container is created. And after that, if you remove the container, the writable layer form is on your hardware. So what is images? Images containing a set of files. In like every image, there is set of FS layers. And if you make a container based on a particular image, then a particular thin layer is made on that image. You can make multiple containers of a same image. Like if you make a first container, then a same image is come and the writable layer is on the top of that. And similar, if I want to create a second container, then the second container also have consist of same image, which is the root image and a writable layer on the top of that. We can say in a layman terms. Okay. So we just moving forward. So we cover the previous all the things which I tell this time. Okay. So today we take the topics like port mapping, NGINX container, port mapping with the example, environment variables, and we will end our like we have a small portion today, but the theory concept is much. So here are some details about how your browser, like if you are with me from the starting of the Docker, in a second or third presentation, I tell you that every container has a different IP address. So if every container has a different IP address, so I think we have the power to access these containers. Okay, so here if you see I will go with the implementation part, then I tell you about like IP address and all that. So you if you remember that IP address of every container is different. So that's the thing I tell you in next slide. But here you can what you want to get the concept is port mapping. So free ports of your choice. Like I created a container one. Okay, this is working on 172.17.0.1. This is the IP address of this container. Okay, in this container application A is running, and 80. What is 80? It is a containers port. That is uh, that is main gateway of your container. Okay, we can say in a layman terms like with the help of this container port, we can access our container one with my browser. Okay, similarly there is a 3000 which is a containers port, and like in this port, if you are working with Windows part, and then you have to install the Docker desktop in that you are working. So the like containers port is a point where you can enter in your Docker container with the help of your browser. Okay, so here is a mapping between 8080. It is your host port, and containers port is 80. So without mapping, you can't have access to these containers. And similarly, like here is also like free ports of your choice. 3000 is a free containers port, and 443 is a containers port. So with a single element like 880 is only pointing to the 80. So we have not options to map 880 with 3000. So there is only one port to one port mapping. So here are some details about how your browser of your laptop interact with the Docker containers. If you go directly to access the container browser, will give error. So I just implement is this. Here we are here. Firstly, we like this time. Firstly, you listen that there's a Docker is running. Okay, firstly, if you are working, then you firstly click on your Docker and start the Docker desktop. And firstly, I am go with the CMD version. CMD. So we are on the CMD version, just like Docker. So I just open the Docker one. Okay. So this time, firstly, I want to check how many processes and how are the things are done. So here are this thing like running. So just stop this. So it will take a little bit of time. I think so. So it will stop. Okay. So this time, if I want to check the PS1 again, so there is no container running. If I want to get to know a stopped container, so there are three stopped containers. So if I want to delete all that, we just use docker rm command and paste the ID of that pair of I think one is so it is removed, and just copy this. If you want to remove anything, just use the docker rm, and any container, so just use these commands. If you want to delete an image, I tell you again, give me a second. After that, I tell you about how to delete an image. So these three are deleted. So if you write docker ps/a, so there is no stopped container present. If I want to know how many images are currently present in my Docker, okay. So in this, you get to know about Alpine. I tell you about what is Alpine, but in the next slide. So firstly, I have to delete all this. So just use the Docker RMI, remove image. And if I just use the repository name, I think it should be deleted with also this. So error response, no such image is found. So give me a second. We will go with the ID one. So here you can see deleted SHA 256. Okay, so it is the SHA 256 hash value. The deleted hash value is also generated. This time, if you go to images, then there's only one image is present. So I also have to delete this image. Just use the Docker RMI command and paste the image ID of that. Control C and here Control V. Just so this time there is no image is present. Okay, so if I want to install, so just use Docker run in the detached mode nginx. So it will the request if you are with me, like in the second presentation, I tell you about the request is goes to the Docker daemon and Docker daemon search within my device. So this image is not present in my device. So it will take this image from the Docker hub portion. So here you can see pulling FS layers. So the process is begin. I think it take 2 or 3 minutes of time. After that, the image is perfectly loading. After that, I tell you about the thing about port mapping. Okay, so just install it. This time, if you have any doubt, then feel free to ask because the image is downloading phase. Okay, so the thing, I think no doubt. And the image is also uh, get like 50% is done. So just I move forward. So here you can see image is downloaded, and this time if you like Docker images. So there is one image like nginx, or if I want to details about that, Docker inspect. Firstly go with that Docker ps. So there is one image is running, and just I write Docker inspect container ID is that, just copy it from here, paste it here, and so there you can see a gateway IP address and then the IP address of the container. So these are the details, like gateway IP address is which gateway IP address is your like if you install the Docker desktop, then a small tiny Linux machine is already installed in is automatically installed. So the IP address of that tiny machine is this, and the IP address of your container is this. If you want, like I have to open with my browser, then 172.17.02, just I write 172.17.0.2. So if you enter it from here, then okay, then after some time you will get an error, or like the images like the it will take too much to respond, or the image, or we can see the respond is not correct. So here the site can't be reached, took too long to respond. So just we move forward here. What is our target? Our target is to get the port number. So 80 TCP, it is the like default one for nginx, because this is the Docker official image. So port is this. Like if I want to have I want to access this one, so I have to map it firstly. Before mapping, you will go firstly delete your image, Docker stop paste. So the container is stopped, and just remove the image. So just RMI and paste the hash value of that. I think it not, because it will take a image ID. Image ID is where this is the image ID. So what is that? Must be force. Okay. Okay. If give me a second. Docker ps. Okay. Actually, the image is stopped when error response or conflicting, unable to delete. Must be forced image. Image is being used to stop container. To stop to hai. So just I use /a option here. So stopped container is this existed. This time if I use, I think it will be worked. Hmm. Okay, firstly I have to delete this container. Okay, so just use rm1 and then paste this hash value, because the container is, firstly if you deleted the image, a container is there, so image is not deleted. At this time if you use, so it will be deleted successfully. And this time if I want to like get this from my desktop, so just move it here, and here commands enabling ports mapping for the nginx container, commands to done mapping between your laptop browser container to container. After that you will access the image from browser also. So docker run /d/p is used to publish one, and 8080 nginx. So just I run this the same command from my terminal. Docker docker run /d/p. I have to 82.8 to the 81 nginx. So here you can see this time. So the image is also coming again with the mapping of 880 port to 80 port. So I think it will take some sort of time. So just uh, wait 1 to 2 minutes. After that, it will cover. I will cover, because without explaining the concept, without implementing, you can't understand anything. So just wait. Mhm. So I think the image is done and the container is in the running portion. So if I want to access this image from my desktop, so just go it here and just write the local host 882. Just enter it here. So here you can see welcome to the nginx. And if you see the image, so basically it is the HTML page which is present inside that container. We can't say that inside that container. We can say it is the HTML page present inside the image. Okay, image bin. So just I move from here and it here. So I explained about how we can map our desktop, our browser to the your container. So how you can delete an image. So firstly, delete an image with the help of Docker RMI and delete the container with the Docker RM. Uh, uh, Before using the Docker RM, you must have known that the Docker container must be in the stop state. So just use firstly Docker stop and then again use the Docker RM command. So we are moving forward again. So here environment variables and some sort of things is there. So by default, some environment variables are starting. Like if you are starting any application in your device, then a environment variable is also associated with that, and that start from the beginning of that. Okay, or we can say it is used to the security purpose, and we can't modify it. uh, we can't modify it in overall the process. Yeah, it is the constant one. Okay, so by default the variables for starting the MySQL database is that when what we can say, when the length uh, I think what I want to write it here. I think that's strong. If the length is too strong, like if the length is too high, then you can use the backslash to write in many lines. So then use this option to write in the next line. There are MySQL user, MySQL password, MySQL root password are the environment variable. This is the default convention of your environment variables. Okay, so if you want to like what is Alpine in the starting when I tell you about Alpine is the salt version of your Node.js image. Okay, so if you want to install a Node.js image, Docker run /d node Alpine, you will go with that. So just I write Docker /d. Give me a second. Run /d. Okay. Run/d. Actually, we have to install the tag that is the Alpine one. Alpine. Oh shit. LPINR is written over there. So it will find that no image is present. So just enter it here, and this will again find the image from your Docker. So here we also have to wait 1 or 2 minutes. After that, the environment variables are there. So we are with the presentation part. So here a small image is installed on your desktop. So here, if you want to know about the environment variables, then firstly the image is on the installing portion. Give me a second so that I continue. So here you can see if I write the docker ps command, so a one container is running, that is nginx, but I have to install, like I want that node Alpine container is also in in the running form. Actually, this container is create after the install, like Docker run, all the stuffs. The container is creates, but suddenly stops because there is no process is running inside that exited 25 seconds ago. So firstly, I will like remove this again because I want the interactive one, that some sort of process is running inside that, at least one process inside running inside that, so that your container is in running form. So if I want to remove this, just okay, that's the Docker PS container. And if I just use Control C and here Control V, so just enter. So it is removed. So if I want that interactive one, so just write Docker run. I think in the detached form and in the interactive, IT is used as the interactive. If you are here, so it indicates that interactive terminal is created. So just I write IT, and this time I write it here, Node Alpine version. Alpine is a small version, Node Alpine. So the image is created and this process is running in your desktop. If you want to know, just write the docker ps. So here you can see Alpine is also running and nginx is also in the running state. So this time if I want to know like environment variables, just I use this command, just exec, and the second one is like in the interactive form in the terminal, and the container id. Okay, so just container id. So just in the it, and the container id is that, copy this, paste it here, and like as such. So here we are on the Show shell. Inside the Show shell, like I am inside the container of the Node.js, and we are inside the Show shell of that. So if I write the node only, okay, okay, what the thing is going on it here? Okay, okay. So give me a second. How to find this? I think I done some sort of mistakes. I think I have to put the image of that Docker images. So here the image ID is that, just copy it. Error response. No. Okay. Okay. So I think the previous one is correct. And inside that, I don't know why the node is not working. So, okay, this time the node is working. Welcome to the node. So this is open. Node.js is a runtime environment of your JavaScript. And with the help of writing the node, we are on the inside your Docker node.js. Firstly, we are on the social, inside the social, and we are inside the node.js. If I write process.env, it is the process. Okay, process is the process. So here, if you write these are the some sort of processes like host name. These are the called environment variables like node version, host name, yarn version, SHLVL, home term, and path PWD. So these all are the environment variables. Okay. We are on the process.env. Process.env gives the property of that, and we are on the these are the by default variables of that. So firstly, we are exit from this portion, like Control C again, and exit it here. And this time I want to remove the complete portion, and just I installed the I have to insert some environment variables name. So just use the Docker. Firstly, stop. What's the container ID which is currently running? So this is the container ID. Just copy this, just paste it here. So it will take, I think, 1 to 2 seconds to stop. Give me a second to stop it. So it will be stopped. Just delete the image, Docker, RMI, RMI. After that, what is the image ID? So this is the image ID. Just paste it here and just enter. So this time again, what I think container is not stopped. Hi, again the same problem. Firstly, you have to delete the container because it is in the stop form, not deleted form. So just paste the hash value there. So the container is deleted. This time if you use the same command, so the image is on deleted. If I want to like to insert my environment variables, like what I want, not also the by default one is also there, but what environment variables I want, I also want to insert it here. So just use the basic command docker run/d. Give me a second. So here use the docker run /d/it/e is the basic name to insert your like environment variables with your side. So docker run /d/it. So just write here docker run /d detached form /it interactive form. I have to insert one variable name which I wanted. So just write user name. And if I write it here, Rudra. Okay. Okay. Image which I want to install is not Alpine. Alpine. So just enter. It will find the image. So it will go to the Alpine directory and the image is on the storage. This downloading phase. So wait for 1 minute. Wait for 1 minute, and after that, this will start. See here, the image is completely downloaded, and just we go here and just I write docker exe.it, and firstly I copied the hash value from this copied and just paste it here, control V. After that, just write sh because we want a social. So this time we are on the social inside the social. And if like this time I want the node interpreter, so just I write node it here. So we are on the node interpreter, this arrow operator. With the help of this arrow operator, you can understand we are on the inside the node interpreter. So here I just write process dot env again. So here you can see a username is inserted, which I use the command like username Rudra is inserted after this. So here you can see a /e username is inserted. If I want again an environment variable, just use the -e again here and just write it here, because these environment variables are consist along every time where you see that these environment variables is present. So these are the some important ones. So if I move in the presentation part, so just you see here. Okay. Okay. So give me a second. I open the presentation part. So just it here docker 4.pptx. So here you can see we are completed the how to create my variable, like my test env is the name of variable here. And after that you have to write your file like s your main image name, like here if you see clearly. So here you can see docker run /it username node alpine, because I want small version, so I just use alpine. So uh, these are the things. In the next of my presentation, I cover it how your folder is created in your laptop, and after that you will store how in your Docker. So how the things are managed, these all the things I will cover it in my next presentation. So thank you all, thank you all, and if you have any doubt, then comment on the on YouTube section. Then I see and I respond it after that. I think Keshav, you start now.
Yeah, please wait. for 1 minute.
Okay.
Please give me confirmation whether my screen is visible and my audio is clear.
Yes, both are good.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Uh, Today I am continuing my series related to Node.js, and today is the eighth presentation and part 5. So my name is Keshav Asti. So I am continuing with my today's presentation. The topics that I will cover today are a recap of previous presentation or presentation 7th and the JavaScript basic part 4. So firstly I will do the recap portion. So this is the previous presentation or the 7th presentation. So topics that I have covered in my previous presentation are JavaScript Basics Part 3. And in Basics Part 3, I've covered the strings. What is a string? It is basically the zero-based format of storing the characters in a combined form. So together we called it as a string. It follows the zero-based indexing. And next is the important basic functions and methods over the string that I have covered. So important methods like dot length, dot index of, dot last index of. So what dot length function, it actually calculates the length of the string. Index of calculates the index value of the character for which we have searched for. And last index gives us the last index value of the particular character for which we have searching in our base string. Now we have also studied about the dot slice function, dot substring function, dot replace, and dot split function. And this is the example which I have discussed in my previous presentation. Now next is dot rem function. It is actually used to remove the extra spaces from the string. Dot uppercase is used to make the all the characters of the string in uppercase, like small to capital letters, and lowercase all the letters which are in small, which are in uppercase, like which are in capital letters, it will convert it into a lowercase letters. So these are the function, two string function, the various ways how we can use the two-string function. So these are the methods. These are the various example of two-string function. This is the spread operator, how we can use the spread operators in the strings. Like if we have given with one string, how you can use the spread operation. Here you can see in line number 4. So this is basic example of using the spread operators. And another example is in line number 8 and 9. So this is how a spread operator works in the strings over the string. Array, we have also studied what are the arrays. So it is also a zero based data structure, zero based indexing data structure, which is used to store the data values of heterogeneous types. So this is the way how we can create an array by using array literal, and another is by using an array constructor. So these are now next is important basic functions and methods over the array. So here I have included one important example, and that examples in that examples I have covered all the important methods over the arrays in a single example in the numbers array. So this is the example that I have included. In this example, I have covered for each function map. Not in I have not covered map and filter function and find function and reduce function. That I will cover when I will cover the advanced JS part. So these are the basic functions. So till now, if you have encountered any of these functions like map or filter, please try to ignore, because these functions I will cover in brief in my future presentation. Now next is the sum function. Every includes push, pop, shift, and shift. These are the basic functions. Slice, splice, concat, join, reverse sort, index of, last index of, is there. So these I have covered. Now the another part that I've covered in my previous presentation was these are like entities. They are often the and behavior. So this I have covered. So I've covered objects also. Intro part basically and intro part I've covered related to objects. Methods or the wait a minute. Methods for defining JS objects. There are four. Basically, there are four methods. Object literal by using object constructor by using constructor function and by using a classes. So these are the basic four ways how you can define a JS objects. So these are the examples how you can how I can define an object by using object literal by using object constructor by with the new keyword. So these are the examples which I have covered. By using a new constructor function, this is the way how we can do this. And this is at last, this is by using the classes. So this much I have covered in my previous presentation. So I have covered this recap portion of today's PPT. Now next is JavaScript basics part 4. So today what we will cover, so we will see important methods related to the objects. So some of the important methods that I will cover today related to the objects are here you can see. The first one is object.keys. What this function do? Object.values, object.entity, object.entries. Sorry, it's not entries. I think it is entities. I will see when I will code it. Fourth is has own property. What this method do? And further there are more, but important ones are only these four. So now I will show you. Wait a minute. Now I will show you the important methods related to objects here. My screen is visible?
Yes.
Okay. So first method which we will see are what is object.keys. So what this method is doing, firstly, please try to see. I have created one object called sample object in line number 59. And sample object contain three pairs of keys and values. The first one is and then the first name of the key is key one with the value one, and second is key two, and value is value two, and third one is key three with the value three. And that object is assigned to a variable called as sample object. Now I am passing this sample object inside the function which is called as object.methods. So this is a function object.methods whose definition I have defined above. So this function will be is having the parameter called here you can see here. So this is wait a minute. Hmm. So now this is the function definition. Here you can see this is a function definition from line number 2 to 55. And here I've created one object, and that object I have passed to the inside the function whose name is object methods. So when I will open this function, here you can see the first line, line number 3 is directly printing the object. So when I will print this object, that the output which we will get is like this. So this is just normally printing the object which I have just passed inside the function, whose parameter is obj. So this is the result which we will get when we'll try to run this file. Now next is the function which I have to say is object.keys. So here you can see when I have created this object, it contains three keys. It contains three keys, key one, key two, and key three. So when I will use this function object.keys, and inside that I have passed this object. So it will directly find out all the keys inside that object and making a array whose elements are the keys of that object which I have passed inside this function object.keys. So it will basically filter out all the keys that are present in the object, and in return it will give the array in return with the element as the keys. So when I will try to print, so array will be passed to inside this keys variable, and when I will try to print this keys variable, the output which we will get is like this array of keys, the array of key 1, key 2, and key 3. So this is how what is object.keys function will do. Next is similarly like object.keys, which filter out all the keys from the object, past object. In the same way, values will filter out all the values with all the values which are there inside the object. So it will filter out all the values and make the array out of it and pass it to the values variable, this variable this. And when I will console.log of the output which we will get is like after object.values, this will be the basically the output. Value 1, value 2, and value 3. So this is what um, values methods will do. Values object method will do. Now next is the object.entries. So we have seen what does keys method will do, what is values method do. Entries will basically gives out the whole key value as an element in the array. If there is uh, like like this. In this object, the key is key 1 and the value is value 1. So this it will create what entries will create entries will do. The first element uh, it will also return an array with the first element as the whole pair of key and value. Like if I will print this like object.entries with the object, then the output which I will get is like this. Wait a minute. So we will get this like this. With we will get an array whose zeroth index element is an array with the value key and value. So whole key and value as a first element we will get with the indexes values, with the corresponding indexes value starting from 0. This is what we will get. I think you can understand. So it will return the whole key value as a array element, and in return it will also the return type of this function is also an array. So this is how object on entries will do. It will filter out all the entries of that object and return in the form of array, and whose indexes values are started from zero based indexing. Now next is for what I have covered. Wait a minute. I have covered these three. The first one is object.keys, second one is object.values, third one is object.entries. Object.entries. And now the fourth one is has own property, whose value, the value which we will pass inside this has own property is also a key, is a basically a key, which we will try to find out. So what does this has own property will do? So here you can see this is an object which I have passed initially. And if I will try to implement this has one property with this object, so what this will do, it will searches out whether this past property is there, whether this past property means whether this past key, here in this case is the key name is property. So whether this past string is already available inside that object or not. So here you can see right now object contains only three things, which is key one, three keys whose name is key one, key two, and key three. It does not contain any key whose name is property. So in return time, what we will get? We will get false because it does not contain any key whose name is property. So in return, we what we will get? We will get false. We will get false in this variable has prop one. So when we will try to print out line number 15, the answer which we will get is false. Now, if we see the another example, like for again with the same object, if I will try to use this method has one property, and in this time we pass this key is key 2, which is already there inside my method. Here you can see key 2 is already there in the object. So when I will try to use this method, it will return now in this right now it will return true because key 2 is there inside the object as a key value. So now if when 18th line will execute, it will return true as an answer. So this is the important methods, I think, important methods related to an object. So now what I have to cover next, I have included this slide also. So in this is the same slide, which you can refer when, which you can refer in future. Wait a minute. So sorry, where I am? So I have included this slide JS object important methods, which recently I have discussed. So here you can refer this example, which is same example which I have discussed recently. So when, so this is what I have discussed. Now next is ways to add an key and value to inside an object. So let's say if there is a already existing object uh, with a keys and values in it. So how we can add an extra doing that application, there are four ways. First is by using a dot notation, second is by using a bracket notation, third one is by using a object dot assign method, and next one is by using the spread operator. So these are the four ways by which we can add the key value inside the object. So this is an example. So I will show you this. Wait a minute. No, I will delete this because I have discussed this, so I will delete it. So here you can see, here there is a comment which is written, there are ways to add a different key value pair in already existing object. So first method is by using a dot notation. So here you can see I've created one object which is object one, which is whose key is name, the value John, and next key is age with the value 30. Here you can see in line number 7, here is this is an object whose name is object one. So now it contains only two keys, name and age. Let's say if I want to insert one more key whose key name is gender with the value male. So this is how I can insert by using this dot operator. Object one, then dot, and the name of the key, and then male. This is the way, this is the method, but method one by which I can add a key value inside the already existing object. Now if I will try to print out object one, so it will return me this name with the value John, age with the value 30, and gender with the value male. So this is the method one by which we can add a key value inside the already existing object. Now next is method two by using a bracket notation. So this is my object two with the value name with value John and age with value 30. Now in line number 16, I have used this bracket notation. Inside this bracket, I have to write the key which I have to add inside that object and equal to with the value of that corresponding key. So this is the next way how you can, the method two, how by which we can add a key value inside the object. So now if I will the 17, now if I will execute the 17th line, the output which I will get is like this. Name John is 30 and gender male. Now next is method 3 by using a object dot assign method. So here I have included two examples related to dot assign. So by this, let's say I have created one object which is object 3 with the value name John and the with the key name with the value John, and another is age, another key is age with the value 30. Now if I will use this function, inside the function the parameters which I have to pass is first the object inside which I have to add the what new key value, and with the comma separator I have to include what I have to add as a key and value. So like this I have to add this gender and with the corresponding value is male. So this key value I have to insert in the object tree. So this is the way how I can do it. Firstly, in which object I have to add key value, and next is key value. So when I will console.log object.3, the output which I will get is like this: name John, age 30, gender male. Now next is the example two. So this is another way how I can use this assign method over the objects. So now currently see, let's say when I will console.log this object. So currently this object is holding the key values are key 1, key 2, key 3, and the value is value 1, value 2, and value 3. Now let's say I have to create a new object with the variable new object 1. So now how I can make a copy of the previous object, which is obj, and by adding a new value to it, and then when the new object will be created, that object I will assign it to new object 1. तो हम इसमें कर क्या रहे हैं, जैसे मेरा एक ऑब्जेक्ट obj बना हुआ है ऑलरेडी, जिसकी कीज हैं की 1, की 2, की 3, और उसकी corresponding वैल्यूज हैं वैल्यू 1, वैल्यू 2 एंड वैल्यू 3. तो हम लोग करना ये चाहते हैं कि जो मेरा ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग ऑब्जेक्ट है, हम उस ऑब्जेक्ट पे एक नई की वैल्यू ऐड करें, और वो जो उसके बाद जो नया ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट होके आए, वो हम किसी न्यू वेरिएबल में असाइन कर दें, जो कि है न्यू ऑब्जेक्ट 1. So that this is a task which I have to implement. So how I can do it? And so now again I will use this method object.assign, because I have to create a new object. So I will use this curly braces, which is an object literal, and the object old object whose key values uh, uh, I want to include by making a new object. So this is the old object, this is the new key value which I have to include in this old object, and by these two I have to make a new object, which is this inside this curly braces. So this will create a new object, and that reference of that new object, it will pass to this new object 1. So now if I will print this new object 1. So what it will print? It will print this output. After object dot assign, the new key values are key 1, key 2, key 3, which are the key values of the older object obj, and new key value, which is new property, and the value is new value. This is the new value which I have written here. So this is another way how I can use this object dot assign. So I think if anyone is having any doubt till now.
No doubt.
Okay. So now next is a fourth method. I have covered three methods. Wait a minute. I have covered by using a dot notation how I can add the key values by using a bracket notation, and third one is by using a object dot assign method. Now next and the last method is by using the spread operator. So this is the way how I can use this spread operator. Basically, by using this concept of spread operator, this is basically gives in ES6 version of the JavaScript. So this is the what I have to say, this is the latest way how I can add the key and value inside the object. So next, let's say in line number 14 here you can see I have created a new object, which is object 4, with the keys are a name and age, with the corresponding values are John and 30. So let's say I have to add a new key and value. So what I have to do, I will use this triple dot and the older object name, which is object 4, and the key and values which I have to add is, let's say, gender with the value male, and the contact with the value this number format string. So here what is happening in this object 4, I am inserting the two pairs of keys and values. The first pair is gender with the value male, and the next pair is contact with the value this number. So now if I will print this object 4, the object which I will get is name John, age 30, and gender male, with the contact this number format string. Wait a minute, guys, I will come in. Rudransh, please give me confirmation whether my audio is coming.
Yes.
Okay. So now I have covered the four ways how I can add a key value inside the object. So now next is, so here I have included one example which covers all the concepts related to how I can add the key and values. A single example which you can refer in future when you want. When you feel any doubt, then you can refer this. So now next is parse int and parse float function. So these are the functions which are important. So I will discuss it. So here you can see I have created one function whose name is explain parseInt with the parameter value. So what this function will do? What this function will do? It will basically, the main work of this function is to convert the string whose main content is basically a number, but that number is in the form of string data type. So to extract out that number which is there in string data type to a number with a number data type. So at that time, the function which is important and we will use it is the parseInt function. So what I will do, let's say here you can see explain parseInt with the value which I am passing is 42, which is in string format. So when this value is passed inside this value, when I will print this object dot value with the value which I have just passed, so it will print 42. Now in result, what I will do, I am using this parseInt function and I am passing that value which is string type 42 inside this value function. So what I will get in as a result, I will get again this 42, but now this time the type of this result variable is a number type. So now if I will print this, it will print result as 42. Now next is if I will pass this 42 with some characters also, but that characters are in last of these numbers like 42px. So it will extract out only the numeric part 42 and it will just print that for numeric part with the on the screen when I will try to execute this function. Now third example is like 3.14, which is a decimal number, but that and decimal number is encoded in this string format. So when I will use this parseInt function inside this value 3.14, so it will extract out the 3 only, because it will ignore the values which are there present after the decimal point on the right hand side, because this is a parseInt function, not a parse float function. So it will remove all the values which are there present after the decimal point on the right hand side. So this is what the output which we will get 3 as a with the data type as numeric. So to remove this drawback, let's say if I want to also include this 0.14 also. So to remove this hurdle, the next function which we will study is a parse float function. So now next function is a parser float that will remove this hurdle of removing this extra bits which are there after this point on the right hand side. So the working of this function is also same as, but the main difference is it will also consider the all the values that are present after the decimal point. So these are the three examples here you can see. I don't think so I have to explain this. So this is how you can get, like if I will pass this 3.14 in the string format, the output which I will get is 3.14 only. No, it will not remove 0.14 which are there after the string. So this is basic parseInt and parseFloat function. Now next are the functions related to maths, like dot round function, dot ceil function, dot floor function, dot random function, dot max function, dot min, dot power function, dot square root function. So these are the basic math function. I don't think so I need to explain this. Dot round function is basically round off the values, like let the value will be here. I've also considered one example like 4.16 in line number 28. You can see in math methods I have passed this value 4.56. So after when the round function will execute, it will make this. When this line number 4 will execute, it will round off this 4.56 to 5 as an answer in the rounded variable. So ceiling function, so here is the work of ceiling function, like 4.5656. So it will make it to 5. The floor function will make it to 4 floor function. Because the difference between the ceil and floor function is like, if the value is like 4 point something and I am using this ceil value, so it will gives me the lesser value nearest to 4. So nearest to 4.5. So nearest to 4.5, the lesser value is 4. So when I will execute this floor function, so it will give me the lesser value, which is 4. But when I will use this ceil function, So it will give me the nearest value uh, uh, related to the number that I passed. Like 4.56, the nearest integer value, which is maximum to 4.56 is 5. So this is the difference between basic ceil and floor function. Random function will generate a random value with each time when I will execute this random function, it will provide me the random value. So this is the important function, random function. We will use this function many times as we study this in future. So dot max function will takes the number of values and it will just returns the maximum value out of it. Similarly, minimum value gives me the minimum value out of it. Power of 2 means mat.pow function will do the basic operations like 5 to the power 2 or any number with the power if I want to get that value. So I will use this power function value with the power. Like for value here in this case is 4.56. So 4.56 to the power 2 is 20 point something. So this is output which we will get. Square root function is basically gives me the square root of the value. So these are the important methods related to maths. So here I have included one example related to it. Now next is now this is the important slide which you have to please try to focus this. So here the concept which I have included is related to JSON file. So what is JSON? JSON is JavaScript object notation. So basically try to focus like what is JSON. So JSON is the way of writing the different type of object information. Like let's say एक मेरे पास एक client है, client का browser है. Let's say let's say there are one hand side there is a client and another viewpoint is a of server. So किसी भी client को जब कोई data भेजना होता है server में, like while let's say I am filling one form related to any government site. So while filling that form, I am particularly filling what is my name, what is my age, what is my basic biographical bio details. So how that details are reaching to that server of the government are reaching to that government server. So that so the format in which the server is receiving that information is in the JSON format. And in response, what that server will send me back send the information back to the client is in the form of JSON. That also is in the form of JSON. देखो होता ये है जैसे कोई भी क्लाइंट जब किसी भी वेबसाइट को हिट करता है, एंटर करता है, उसको मतलब ट्रिगर करता है, लाइक HTTPS समथिंग, लेट्स से गवर्नमेंट की कोई साइट हो गई, तो उसको जैसे ही मैंने ट्रिगर किया तो वो क्या करती है, अपना जो डेटा है जो कि क्लाइंट सर्वर को भेजता है, तो वहां तक अपना डेटा जाता है, जो कि डेटा जाता है जेसॉन फॉर्मेट में. वो जेसॉन फॉर्मेट का डेटा सर्वर रिसीव करता है और उस रिसीव करने के बाद उसमें जो भी अपना कैलकुलेशन पार्ट परफॉर्म करने के बाद जो भी वो रिजल्ट वापस सेंड करता है क्लाइंट को सर्वर, वो भी जेसॉन फॉर्मेट में करता है, विद द फाइल जेसॉन फॉर्मेट फाइल में सेंड करता है, क्योंकि जेसॉन फॉर्मेट फास्ट होती है. जेसॉन फॉर्मेट में कोई भी डेटा सेंड करना नेटवर्किंग के थ्रू फास्ट फास्ट होता है, rather than if you will compare to any other corresponding files. So JSON file is very much fast. So here you can see in line number 14, I have created one variable whose name is sample JSON string. This is basically a string, but here you can observe that this string is basically a object. But that object, because that object is encoded inside this what I have to say, commas, upper commas, or encoded in this commas. So right now this object is a basically a string type. So let's say when I pass this sample JSON string inside this function, which is JSON methods. So here you can see the definition of this methods, JSON methods. So with the parameter JSON string, so that string is assigned to this JSON string. And when I will try to print this original JSON string with the variable JSON string, it will give me the output this. Original JSON string is like this. So this is the string which I have just passed. Here you can see here you can notice that there is no color difference between any key and value. So because this is whole is this whole value is acting as an string, so that's why this is basically just printing a one string value, which is this, which is internally an object. So let's say when I will get this string. Let's say I have to parse this string, which is this, into a original object with the key and value like this. So what I will do in that case, I will use this JSON.parse function, which will take the string format and in return it will convert that string object into a normal object. So this is what this parse function will do. So here I have passed this string, and in parse object I will get the object. When I will try to print out this parse object, I will get this key with the original value. So this is the original object. Till now what we have studied, this is the normal object, how it looks like. So JSON.parse function will take a string, which is basically an object type of string, and it will filter out or parse out all the it will parse out the object, which is a real object inside from the string. So this is the basic function of JSON.parse. So now let's say I have to again convert this parse object into a string object. So what in that case, what I will do, I will use this function JSON.stringify. It will take the normal object and it will convert that normal object into a string object. So this is the case. Let JSON.stringify, it will take the parse object, which is here in this case is like this second line, and it will again convert this object into a string object. And when I will try to print out this JSON.string field stringified, so it will give me the result as after JSON.stringify, the value is this, which is a string object. Till now, if anyone feels any doubt related to this JSON.parse and JSON.stringify, can ask me.
No.
Okay. So now next is so today I have to cover only this much. So if anyone is having any doubt, so he or she can ask.
Can you summarize it?
Uh, the whole which I have covered today.
Yes, within 2 or 3 minutes you can summarize.
Okay. So today, what are the topics that I have covered? So today, the important topics that I have covered are the important function, which is object.keys that basically returned out that will basically returns an array whose each element is a keys of that object. And object.values will give me return. In return, it will give me an array which contains all the values of that object. And trees will give me will return which will also return an array whose each element is a key value pair and has own property. This function will check whether that particular key is a part of that object or not. So these are the important methods. Here I have considered, I have written one example, so which you can refer in future. Now here I also tells about what are the ways to add an key and value inside object. So there are 4 ways: by using a dot notation, by using a bracket notation, by using a object dot assign method, and next one is by using the spread operator. So these are the 4 ways how you can by which we can insert a new key value pair inside the already existing object. So this is a very good example which you can refer whenever you feel any type of doubt. So now next is parseInt and parseFloat. What this function will do is basically extract out all the it will basically extract out the strings and convert it into a numeric data type. And similarly, parse float also. Now the important method related to math I have covered: route, round, route, seal, dot random, max, min, power, and square root of the function. So these are the basic function. Here is the example which you can see. And at last, I have covered the two important methods related to JSON file, which is JSON.parse and JSON.stringify. The parse will basically convert the string object into a normal object, and stringify will convert the object into a string object. So here you can see the very good examples related to it. So thank you. This much I have covered today. So
Okay, so every time at the
if
last you
anyone
can summarize it, okay, in every presentation.
So So good evening, everyone. So today I'm gonna start with a new set of topic that is that you can see on the screen. This is the topic that is one of the most popular topic among every developer. This is the part of a JavaScript in continuity also. So don't get this. So don't get baffled between this kind of scenario that I'm teaching something else or I'm presenting something else. Today I'm gonna present about an application programming interface. What is an application programming interface? Actually, if you have watched my previous sessions also, I have told you about application programming interfaces. There I have told you about web APIs, what are the APIs, or what more. I give the more theoretical representation of this topic. Today I'm gonna start with some new set of concepts, including this topic only. And what is the importance of this topic is something like that. If you've studied about JSO and JavaScript object notation, then this topic is too much helpful. Although if you are implementing any kind of a user-friendly website, if you want to deploy and you're making your own websites, then this topic is too much. Actually, this is a base, or you can say without this topic, without this concept, you can you not if you are how much good programmer you are, you cannot even deploy a simple website. So this is the importance of this topic. It's not about the front end or it's not about the back end. It's about both the front end and both front end and back end. It is combining a simple two topics in a simple language or in a simple code. So let's start up with the topic. Uh, so let me visualize the screen towards you, and please ensure me that it is visible to you or not. So so if you can see on the if you can see on the screen, a very small piece of code has been written to you. The code is like async function, Shukla Vedant, get, and let v is equals to await fetch get, like this. It has been written like this. So one minute.
Vedant, your voice is not coming.
So yes. 1 minute. So Rudrash, am I audible now?
But your screen is not completely visible. Try to make it visible.
Okay.
Yes, this time it is visible.
So okay. Thank you so much. So I was discussing about that today we are discussing a new set of topic. So if you can see the code, a small set of code has been written, and what does it code represents to you? Let me explain it to you. See, this is the code that is written that likewise that is interacting something that is want to fetch or call something. Okay, so and what does it want to call or what does it want to request? It is sending a kind of a request from one file to another file or another set of file. So what is the meaning of this code? Let's understand it. So see, this is a very basic code. So and when we will be moving towards to the next set of concepts or more or you can say a more you can say next set of things, there you can analyze it well. So but if you're not getting something right now, it doesn't matter. But let's try to understand this thing, that Shukla Vedant. First it has been in Shukla Vedant. So it is a kind of a, you can say, function only, or you can say it is a kind of a uh, uh, Shukla Vedant is kind of a function, or it is a kind of a, you can say, normal parameter, or you can like that. There inside that So inside that, I have written, I've written something. I've written something like that. Fetch underscore info.txt. So Shukla Vedant is kind of a function. So don't get any misconfusion. It should not be there. Shukla Vedant is a function. Shukla Vedant, I have created a function of a Shukla Vedant, and inside it I have just put up that statement, or you can say a text, or in a text form, and I have also used, if you can see, it is in a green, it is in a green color, that is showing a fetch underscore info.txt. It is underscore. So then I am enclosing it with one colon. So see, it is a function. I'm defining the function at the global, globally. Then I'm creating another set of function, that is async function, with the help of async. With the help of, see, async is a keyword that is mostly used in callback programming. To avoid callback hell, we use async. So it is representing the same thing as we are doing callbacks also. So it is a, see, async await is a part of a callback function. To avoid callback, as a keyword, we use async await, because what happens, we when we use callback, we stuck in a callback hell. So it is doing the same thing, but with the help of async. So okay, so it is a more advanced version. You can think of it like that. Okay, so let's start with, so async function. That the function was Shukla Vedant, that I defined it globally over there. Inside that, I passed up the parameter of Git. So for example, if I want my Git profile to be fetched out from another file, so like that. So then I initialize two parameters, that is v and s. And for the first two variables v and s, first at v, I am storing fetch Git. Okay, actually fetch Git is a kind of a command. See, await is a keyword that is used with that v is holding, and that is used with the aside parallelly with async. Okay, so if you're using async, then for any variable that has been stored over there, we use await for fetching of file. And that fetch is a keyword that I have written, and inside it I pass it the random parameter of Git. So Git over here is a random parameter that is inside the function of Shukla Vedant. Then we are moving towards the next line, that is s is equals to await v.txt. Okay, so one thing is so what is v.txt? Sorry, v.text. It's a proper text, proper text over there. And then it is also using, we are also using it as a kind of a function. Fetch is a normal keyword that is used for fetching a file. Then if v.txt, because we have stored a, because we want to fetch the file, and so we have stored it inside v. Then again we initialize another variable, and with the help of that variable, we want to extract the first statement, that is v, and that is the reason we are using the first set of file, that is v.text. That is another function where you are creating it. And in inner HTML, we are storing the s, because the whole part will be executed with the help of s. So we want to execute, so this is the simple execution. Now if you now parallelly, if you see on the output screen or in the browser, it has been the statement has been in the fetch API interface allows web browser to make HTTP requests to web servers. If you use the XML HTTP request object, fetch can do the same in a simpler way. So this is the text that has been written to you. So let me explain you the context of the statement. That what is the context of the statement over here is. See, their APIs are of three types. Actually, web APIs, browser APIs, and web APIs, browser APIs, and fetch APIs. Okay. So web APIs are APIs. That uses a software interaction always. The API has this the base of the APIs is depends upon the software interaction. But currently we have to focus at what we are studying right now. We are studying about browser API, or we are studying about web API. We have to understand it like that. So we are mostly in slightly towards like that. We are today studying like web or browser. Actually, browser API, web APIs are the one that uh, that works on JS1 queries, or you can say JavaScript queries. But today we are studying about browser APIs. So if someone is asking you what we are doing right now, so what is our task or what is our aim? We want to fetch a file from one file to another. Okay. For example, there is one web page of a browser. There's one browser and a website. And if it is website, if that website is opening on any certain browser, so that for the and it is obviously it is representing a simple web page with type of HTML. So in that web page we have in that web page we have some file that has been stored over there. So for example, so we have some text that has been written over there. So obviously those text has been written with the help of some files. So it has been stored like text dot file, like it has been stored it like that, text dot file. Okay. So it has been stored it like that. So that text dot file. So we want to extract that information that is on the another website or a website of a web page. Then we use then we use this method that of fetch APIs. It requires a basis of JavaScript object notation. But I'm telling you that when you are studying about JavaScript object notation, that is jQueries, that has been required in web APIs. But we are studying about browser API. Here we simply fetching one text file from another. In future also we will study more about APIs. But today what we are doing, we want to fetch a simple text from one web page to another to another web page like that, or to my browser. Okay, browser screen. So so this is the statement that has been visible to you. If you use the XML HTTP request object, the fetch can do this in a simpler way. So it is a request call that has been that we are doing with the help of APIs. So we are successfully we are successfully executing the simple text over there. But so we are doing with the help of callback function. So callback is equally important to understand this concept. But there is always a difference between a callback and API. See, API is always something like, see, callbacks. What are the function role of callbacks? Callbacks is calling your simple from one. It is running in your code base only calling one function to another. But
Vedant,
with the help of APIs, you can calling up a one. Yes.
you are
Yes.
opening in your phone like let we async function Sukla Vedant. This slide you are opening currently.
Yes. I'm opening the same slide only because I want to explain this thing.
Okay. I want to check the net connection, so you can continue. Good.
It is all right. It's all right. So actually, I have more slides also, but today I just want to just explain you what is the basic aim, what is the aim of this whole thing. Then that you can understand those next couple of slides easily. So I was saying that the difference between this API and callbacks is a simple function that is extracting from one function to the another. API can provides the role that it can call up the one function from another. Okay, it calls up the one function from another. Sorry, one browser web page to another. Okay, so because it helps us to provide this kind of simplicity. So let's understand more about this concept. So let me ensure it should be visible to you properly. So okay, is the screen visible properly?
Yes, it's correct. Bas yes. बस इतना ही रखो. That
Okay. It's all right. So this is the another set of slide. So this slide represents that in the JavaScript, I am storing one. I'm taking up a variable as Vedant, and in that Vedant variable, I'm storing a fetch underscore info.txt. Okay. So what is the use of fetch underscore info.txt? Here I'm also doing this. I'm doing the same thing. So there, see what is the difference between the first and second thing? Actually, both the slides doing the same thing. But what is the interesting point is that there we are doing with the help of calling up a one function. Here we are doing with the without here we are doing that particular thing without async and await. Okay, here we are doing the particular same thing without async and await. That is the required thing to be to get understand to you people is where we are doing without a single wait. So what we are doing here, we are not calling up but those callback functions. We are not using a sing, we are not using a wait, we are not calling up the function. And then also we are fetching up, we are successfully fetching up the file. We are successfully fetching up the API file. So this is the leniency of APIs also. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me again and again. Let me show you the previous slide also. So let's see let's look up the previous slide. Here I was declaring of a function globally, then I'm again asking that function to get called again and again. But here I just took up a variable as Vedant. There at Vedant I'm storing that fetch underscore info.txt. Okay, so this is the this is not a syntax. Okay, I will be making you this clear in the next slide. So at fetch is a function of API. So there I'm calling up my variable or that particular variable that I was storing up the file, because I want to call the variable at last again if I'm not using the callback function, but I want something to get a function with that if there is one variable over there. So with the help of which variable it is possible to get up a call. So because Vedant has been storing everything like that fetch underscore info.txt. So Vedant has that accessibility. I'm showing because I have to store this text at anywhere, either in some function or in some variable. So I'm storing it in a variable called known as Vedant. Then if I'm showing that variable known as Vedant, so I want that variable of Vedant to be get called again and again, or not call, or you can say use again, because I want to use you can say that fetching part. So fetching part will be able to do it easily with the help of Vedant, because Vedant is storing that information of that file. So with the help of fetch function, I'm able to do that thing. I'm storing it inside it Vedant. I'm storing it. So then see, now there's one new thing, that is dot then. So what is dot then? So dot then is a kind of operator that has been used in APIs. I was saying that I was not using async, I was not using await, but I am using then dot then right now. So what is the use of dot then? Uh, so actually, what is happening over here? Here we are storing it like that. I'm see what I'm doing right now. I'm using dot then, and dot then is holding like that. V and with the help of arrow function v.txt, and v.txt means that some text has been stored inside some function. Then I'm moving towards second dot then, and second dot then I'm storing the main in second dot then I'm storing though with the help of demo function I'm storing the another variable of another, you can say, variable of a variable as s, or you can say not a variable but just you can say the particular function that with the help of which those text has been called up to you. And it has been because v is holding v.txt, so it has been storing calling inside inner.html, and and whole file is getting executed over there. So what is the so it is a syntax that you have to follow, and dot then operator is a kind of an operator. inside the fetch function. Inside the fetch function or inside your APIs, dot then is an operator uh, that is working like that. That first it is storing the info of v that v with the help arrow function v dot txt. Then and then in second one it has been initializing another variable to another function to call up to with the help of inner HTML. Okay, so you can get these things more clear to you in next slide. So let's look up at next slide. So so what is the next slide over there? So next slide is something like that. See here it was fetching up those simple things, but here you can see up like that I'm doing the same operations, but you can say that sorry, we can't seem to find the resource you are looking for. Please check that the website address is spelled correctly. See, what is the main aim of doing the whole part? The previous slide is same. The second slide is same. But in the previous slide, you are getting the output in your browser screen. In your browser, you can say the whole text has been showing that if you use the XML HTTP request object, such can do same in a simpler way. But here also it is not allowing us to do that to do that thing. So why it is happening over there? Either I'm not calling up the syntax correctly, or I'm not calling up the function correctly, or I'm doing some sort of errors over there, or some mistakes are there. So what is the problem over there? So let me identify that thing. Well, so the whole thing has been same, or the nothing was nothing was wrong, but the problem uh, uh, that was the problem that I was facing is like I wrote up like that at fish underscore sugar.txt, and here I am writing it as fetch underscore info.txt. So that is the reason it is not taking up the user rightly, and the thing is it has been showing up you can say sort of uh, you can say error, or you can say not able to do the execution properly. Actually, there is a problem in shukla.txt. You can write your name also. For example, if your name is any ABC, so you can write abc.txt. But the problem over here that you are getting is that my file that I wanted to fetch shukla.txt was not exist. It was not existing over there. So if you want to extract some file that is not existing, that is the reason it has been showing error. So website. So when you want to fetch any text or text file from any website, so you have to implement the name of that text file very accurately. Otherwise, it will show you the errors, and that is the most important thing to remember about. So okay, so for so and and basically, for example, if you use a notepad, then there also you store any kind of a text.txt. So it has been very so you are able to understand that thing properly. And fetch underscore shukla is a simple syntax that you have to write. And because you want to fetch, so you are using the fetch function over there while not defining the fetch properly, because fetch is it's already a function. There is storing Vedant over there. And what is Vedant is? Vedant is Vedant that has been storing the whole info of that thing. So Vedant, why Vedant is essential to call or to execute over there or to write over there, because Vedant is storing the whole detail or whole info of that particular file. Because I want to extract the name of that file, and my name of the file was info.txt, or and it was not shukla.txt. That is why it is showing error. Or if I'm changing up the name, so then again I'm getting up the errors. See, if the shukla.txt was existing over that particular website, and that website, the address of that website, or it is referencing that website, it never gives an error. But it was not existing. Okay, so fetch Vedant, then and dot then is a kind of operator and inside your APIs, and it is very essential to use. So this is the basic syntax that I'm providing to you in more in future sessions. So this is the just basics of APIs, you can say, a basic code that I've provided to you. In future also, I will be providing you more set of codes, and that you must able to understand it well. So today, that was all from this part, because I don't want you people to get confused or that backward with all those things. So the this slide.
Vedant, 10 minutes.
So yes, yes, it's almost over. So if you are able to fetch up the simple output, so I'm giving you some seconds. You can do it likely.
I think first one returns false and second one is true. Am I right?
Yes. So let me give you a hint that here you have to you the Boolean function will be your answer. And Rudransh, you are almost right, but you're not your answer was not accurate or up to the mark. Let me tell you what is happening over there. As you said that there was first is returning false and second one is returning something like that. Actually, let's analyze it from the first line. The first is X, that is showing the word as hello, the text as hello, sorry, the string as hello, and Y is storing it is storing a string as hello. Y is creating a string of hello. Sorry, creating a string that is storing a hello. Okay, and we want to print inside our browser of while comparing both the things, that is X and Y, and the first line also and in the second line as well. But what happens, see see, always remember this thing, I've told you also, that when they what is the difference between double is equals to and triple is equals to? Both the operators gives you the same execution, but the output will be, or the output can differ by, and by how much and why. So this is the question right now. X is equals to hello is printing, see, X is a primitive data type, or it is a primitive data type that is storing a simple string. Y is not a primitive data type. Y is not a primitive data type. Y is a variable, or actually that is storing a string, but Y is creating a string. So Y is acting as an object over there. So that is storing up a, you can say, that is storing up a string, and Y is an object, X is a primitive. And X is a primitive variable, or when Y is a proper object. So X can be called up as primitive, and X can be defined as a primitive, and Y can be defined as an object. And if you remember that this is the syntax of an object in object-oriented programming. Here, mostly in JavaScript, that we do it like that only. So first, um, if you remember about X is equals to Y will get true, and second will be the output will be false. Why? Because if you see over there, X double is equals to is able to provide you the type conversion. So hello will be compared to hello, because it is a string. Obviously, it is a string, but when it is but it is storing inside an object. But double is equals to operator doesn't it has a tendency of lose equality. For example, if any person is very careless towards its work, so it will it will think like that. Okay, hello is equals to hello, no problem is there. If it is both the things are matching, both the string is equal, that has been defined. Both the values are equal, so it will be checking up the values, and it will be providing the output as true. But if you move towards the second line, X triple is equals to Y, S will be getting you false, because it disables the type of conversion first of all, or that is mostly known as type origin. And second thing is because the reason is it follows up the strict equality. So it will be for because it follows of the strict equality. So it will be doing it like that. So it will be providing you the output as false. So because primitive and object cannot be compared right now. This is the tendency, and because primitive and object cannot be compared directly, so it will be providing you false. Okay, although the value is equal in the strings. So although I am completed with my session, so let's if you have any question and answers, you can ask me directly. So here one important question is like what is passed by value and passed by reference. Passed by value is and passed by reference. See, passed by as I was telling you about an object oriented programming, that when there we create an object, and when we create an object, there is one there we use arrays, object literals, and pass by value, and this is the part of referencing. So this depends upon referencing. On the other hand, what is value? When we are passing a value, it follows the concept of primitive data types. So it holds a primitive strings, primitive integers, of big integers only. So that is the tendency of pass by value, and this is the tendency and defining and working with object oriented is the tendency of pass by reference. So when we are storing inside any array, so for example, if you created a function globally, or we are creating one function as over there of get modified a value, modify a value. It is the name of a simple function. Don't get confused. Or you can say a function as ABC. Take a more simpler function, that is ABC at first line, and there we are storing something and giving our parameter, and we are calling a function simply as we do in ES6 classes, or we and as I was not we do not when we do not follow in ES6 classes. So we are calling about providing a simple function that I also created as in my last sessions or my previous slides. And on the other hand, we are creating a new variable of f, x, y, z, whatever what we want to create. So there we are storing any kind of a, you can say, array or objects, or we are creating many objects. Or for example, let's take up an array. We are creating an array, and in that array we are passing up any value. For example, you're creating an array with the help of square brackets. Let y is equals to square brackets, and inside the brackets you're passing up the value of x, y, z, p, q, r, or name of any person, Vedant or Shukla, or something like that, or source content. So then, or for example, you're providing up the value of source. Then but then I'm calling up the function at that there I created the function. For example, I created the function as ABC like that. So there I want to call it that push with the help of push operator, that I want to push up the value of content inside my array. So the value of content inside your array will get modified. So there is a possibility that your previous value can get modified or deleted currently. So this is the possibility of an array when you check an array. Okay, but on the other hand, when you do similar thing with the pass by value, for example, you are creating any so you are creating any variable, let z, and there you are storing any values over there, and then you're storing, if there you're storing any value. On the other hand, you're calling up that value or calling up any other function, and you want to modify a value. For example, let y is equals to 5, and then you're using incremental operator, and then you want to print. Then so this is the globally part, and in locally you want to print with the help of console.log. Let y is equals to 5, and there you want to print let y is equals to 8. And so locally it will be working as locally, and so your output screen, it will be getting printed. So let's understand the context of my statement, that your value will not get modified. You can check it practically also. Your value will never get modified. So this is the main objective of pass by reference. pass by value, you can never you can never change up that particular value, the key value that you have provided over there. For example, what do you want to print? For example, if you have taken as console.log is equal to 5, so 5 will be getting printed, not taking up the first function call that you have created. Or from first function you are taking you have to let y equals to 5, and then you want to print console.log y dot y. It will be getting the result will be 5, not like then again in the next line you took up like b is equal to 6, so 6 will not be getting printed. So it never changes up the value. Pass by reference is changes of the value directly in your array or objects like that. So basically, moreover, I have completed with up my session, so it's almost over now. If I come to the rest of the questions, I've discussed it earlier. That is not a number. 9 is not a number. Java and what is a debugger? Debugger is a tool of that we provide in JavaScript. Prototype chain based upon you can say it's a traditional JavaScript, not following the traditional JavaScript, but yes, a proper JavaScript. Not providing a traditional inheritance, but in JavaScript we provide prototype chain. It's a proper inheritance. For strings, it's like let, and when you use let when var globally or locally. The creating of an object, I'm already telling you. Creating an array, I'm already told you. And if you want to use some operations of to find up the maximum number in an array, then you can even use spread of operator or calculate sum of two numbers. You can use spread of operators or reduce functions. There are reduce functions. You can do it practically. So and double is equals to triple is equals to, I told you in that in this slide only. And I also told you to create a